Hey guys, welcome into another edition of Mock Draft Monday here on Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the Dean of the Academy, and I'm here with you today for a very special mock draft. Now, when I initially planned out today, it wasn't going to be a mock draft. I know, shocker, mock draft Monday with no mock draft. What? Dean, you crazy? No, look, what I was going to do, my buddy who you've all seen on here, D Money, he sent me a running back tier from CBS Sports off their Instagram page. If you get a chance, go look at it if you need a point of reference. But I looked at it and I was like, they are so wrong on so many levels about this. It's not even funny. They had guys here who they were calling elite that I really didn't see it. Really, in my opinion, there's really only three truly elite running backs. And of course, everybody knows CMC, Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. You've got Saquon in New York. And then, of course, you got, and it pains me to say this, but Zeke in Dallas. After that, the term elite is being thrown around way too much, okay? So they had some of that, and then they had these guys who they called on the cusp. And when you're on the cusp, like you're almost ready to make that next step. And one of the guys they had on here was Austin Eckler. They had Kenyon Drake. Actually, I'd say what, I'll just run down the list for you real quick, guys. On the cusp, they had Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, Kenyon Drake, and Nick Chubb. Those were guys who were on the cusp of elite. Below that, they had a high-risk, high-reward. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon, Josh Jacobs, Todd Gurley. And then they had just solid. And in this just solid category, they had James Conner, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette. Okay, I can buy the Leonard Fournette one. Swift, the rookie running back from the Lions. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, if a solid running back is what you're looking for, you want someone who's established, who is going to be that main guy. If they're solid for you, they shouldn't have to compete with anybody. He's got to beat out Kerryon Johnson. Okay, I know it might not be a stretch, but he's still got somebody in his way. They've got Le'Veon Bell and Cam Akers. Now, the Cam Akers one, I don't view that as a solid because we don't know how he's going to be used. He's a rookie. And then Le'Veon Bell, look, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I got 5 words for you. Adam Gase, New York Jets. Okay? It's the Jets and Adam Gase. I don't know what else I can say, what else I can tell you, but that in and of itself would steer me away of Le'Veon Bell. So what I did was I added another category here. I added an at your own risk. And the at your own risk category has a case of the unknown. So there are some things about these players that we don't know how things are going to pan out. And we're hoping, we're trying to believe that things are going to pan out the way that we want them to, so that we can get these players. So real quick, burn through the low risk. Of course, everybody knows low risk is going to be CMC, Saquon, and Zeke. Now, along with that, they also had in there, in the elite, they had Kamara and Cook. Now, here's what I have in there. I have in there as my other two, Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs as a low risk. Okay, these guys are low risk. I'm not going to call anybody elite because I think it's just throwing the term around way too much. So the low risk players, you're going to have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Zeke Elliott, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. Okay, Jacobs, I put him in that low risk category because he is it. Jalen Richard is not going to affect his fantasy performance to the point to where you got to steer clear of him. You have to be cautious of him. Derrick Henry, look, Derrick Henry finished second behind CMC last year for most points for a running back, okay? Everybody's coming back. The man got paid. So there's really nothing holding him back, okay? My next category I have is a high-risk category. Now, your high-risk category, my number one is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, aside from the fact that he's threatening to hold out, which the way that the collective bargaining agreement is drawn up now is going to actually not benefit him like it would in the past. I'm not going to go too far into detail, but just know that it's different. It's drawn up differently to where it doesn't benefit the player to hold out like it used to. Also, the most games he's ever played in one season was 14, and that was last year. Okay, so he doesn't have a whole lot of leverage here. I don't see him holding out. He thinks he's more than what he is. They have Alexander Mattison behind him, and I've said it before. Any draft that you do, please try to get Alexander Mattison as soon as possible, as soon as it's convenient for you to get him. My next one is Joe Mixon. This is plain and simple, and I've said it before. He's got a rookie quarterback. He's going to see stacked boxes the whole season until Joe Burrow can prove that he is the quarterback that they drafted, okay? They're going to challenge Joe Burrow. They're going to challenge him to throw the ball, and that's going to not bode well for Cincinnati's run game, okay? So just plain and simple, just throwing that out there. It's not a knock on Joe Mixon and his talent. It's a knock on the system and just basically what it is. You know, we're here at the academy, we call it what it is, and this is what it is. Okay, we talk about the environment around the player, so that's what it is. Todd Gurley, plain and simple, the knees. I don't believe that he is at the health level where we're all being led to believe he is. Okay, now I don't see a whole lot of competition behind him, but I also don't see him being able to carry that workload like he used to. Okay, if he was able to carry that workload, the Rams wouldn't have let him walk. And if the Rams had plans for him, they wouldn't have drafted a running back where they did. They drafted Cam Akers to replace Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley signed one day after being dropped from the Rams. Guys, I don't know about you. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but when I see things that don't make sense, I'm going to call them out, okay? So this just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, you can play the whole he played college ball in Georgia and he's going back home and it's comfortable and others. You can play that game all you want. But I'm telling you right now, I don't see where if he had any kind of faith in himself, that he wouldn't have held out for one, more money, two, a longer term, or three, maybe a different team, okay? You're going in the NFC South. Brady just got there. Everybody and their mother's coming to play for Tampa, and that's offense and defense. You got the Saints, who are the perennial favorites in the division. So why are you going to go to a team that's going to have to score 30 to 40 points a game just to win? Okay, because their defense is not all that. Okay, so think about things when these things happen, guys. Miles Sanders, look, I love Miles Sanders. I'll take him in a draft. You know, the first half of the second round, he's a target for me, but it's just the system is going to give him high risk. Plus the fact that Philly has been talking about bringing in another running back. They've had their coach come out and say that he didn't name any names, but we're pretty sure that he's referring to Carlos Hyde when he talked about they had an opportunity to sign a veteran running back and they missed out on it. So this missed opportunity wound up going to Seattle to back up Chris Carson. Okay, so that said, you know, I don't know how much I want to depend on Miles Sanders if there's better options out there. Okay. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Kenyon Drake. I'm going to lump these guys into the same category here. They're both on my high risk simply because, one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a rookie and we don't know what's going to happen. Both of them are on teams that have extremely high targets going out to multiple people. There's way too many mouths to feed, both in Kansas City and in Arizona. Okay, so that's something to look at when you're looking at these guys. Plus, the price tag on Clyde Edwards-Helaire is second or third round. That's way too high for a rookie. Plus the fact that if you look at it, everybody wants to get giddy about the Kansas City offense. Oh, I want a piece of this. I want a piece of this. No, you want a piece of the wide receiving core, maybe. Okay, and remember, the wide receiving core doesn't run through a wide receiver. It runs through their tight end and Travis Kelce. Okay, their run game doesn't run through a running back. It runs through Patrick Mahomes. Okay, if you look last year, and you know I'm not big on stats, but I looked it up. Look, Damien Williams, who everybody was huge on, was the only Kansas City running back who listed even remotely high on stats last year, and he only ranked 34th. Okay, you had Adrian Peterson finish higher for fantasy points than Damien Williams. Okay, so don't get too giddy about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Is the upside there? Yes, the upside is definitely there, but that's what makes him high risk. Okay, so Kenyon Drake, same thing. I love Drake. He carried me into the playoffs last year after he went to Arizona. I loved having him on my team, but I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to call it what it is, and he is a high-risk pick. If you can get him third round, like if you're in the top half of the draft, first, second, third pick, and you can get him on turn, when you come back, you pick up a late second, early third. If he's there, great, awesome. Solid running backs that I have on my list is Alvin Kamara, and he's on the verge of high risk just for the simple fact, like I've said before, of the whole Taysom Hill experiment that's going on in New Orleans. But there's definitely going to be an uptick in his production this year. I think he's coming back a little healthier. Fournette, look, volume alone, he's going to get more touchdowns than he did last year. Last year, he only had 3 touchdowns. That was ridiculous for the talent that he is. And, I mean, who else do we have in Jacksonville? There's really nothing that's scaring me off about that. And Fournette needs a big year because he wants to get paid and he wants to get out of Jacksonville, okay? David Johnson, look, I'm not big on the elder statesman. You got Gurley and you got Gordon and you've got David Johnson this year. I've already said I'm laying off of Gurley. There's no way I'm touching any running back on Denver. So David Johnson is my only solid running back out of those 3 that you can actually go with confidence in. He's basically taking over unchallenged, probably the most vacated carries in the league. Okay, he's got like 250 carries that Houston did last year with Carlos Hyde, made him a 1,000-yard rusher. David Johnson's better than Carlos Hyde, plain and simple. Okay, so if you have an opportunity to get him, go ahead and snatch him up. He's probably going to go around the 4th or 5th round. If you can get him there, great. Hands off. I've said it before. I just said it about Melvin Gordon. I'm hands off of Melvin Gordon. I'm hands off of Le'Veon Bell, like I've said before, and I'm hands off of James Conner. Guys, listen. I loved what James Conner was. I love what they think he can be, but I'm going to let someone else deal with that headache of what happens if Big Ben goes down and they have absolute trash at backup for quarterback. You don't know what you're going to have in Jalen Hurts. Okay, they brought him in. I don't know what they're going to have. Okay, so with that said, I'm hands off of Bell. I'm hands off of Gordon. I'm hands off of Conner. Okay, these next ones are going to be at your own risk. The at your own risk ones is Austin Eckler. My man, I love Austin Eckler to death. As per the Foot Clan, which I'm a disciple of, Awesome Eckler was phenomenal for me last year. I had him and Gordon last year, and I started them both with confidence on my roster and made it to the championship round. So they were extremely productive in San Diego and with the Chargers. I know it's going to be the same thing this year with saying San Diego and Vegas. Okay, everybody's going to be calling them Oakland, so just get used to it. But yeah, with the Chargers, Eckler's there. He's the man. It's his show. It's his team. It's his backfield until he shows that he can't do it. Aaron Jones, again, at your own risk. You understand going in. There's going to be a decline in touchdown production. There's nothing that can be done about that. There's no way that it can be sustained. 16 touchdowns, 16 rushing touchdowns on the year. It's just unreal. Nick Chubb, again, at your own risk, because he's going to have a timeshare with Kareem Hunt. Okay, if you want one of the two, I would say go ahead and get Kareem Hunt. If you're like just set on having a Browns running back on your team, there's no way around it. I'm telling you right now, go with Kareem Hunt. You can get a better selection at the price that Nick Chubb is going to cost you. Okay, I've been seeing Kareem Hunt go in the 6th, 7th round, so you can wait on him and pick him up then. I would be hands off either one. Okay, I'd rather have 80% from someone else than 50% from either one of these guys. Okay. Plus the fact we don't know if Baker Mayfield is even going to make it through the season and what that offense is going to look like by week 4 or 5. Swift from the Lions. He's at your own risk. Like I said at the top of the show, he's got to be out Kerryon Johnson. So we don't know what's going to happen. Same thing with Cam Akers. He's next on my list. I love Cam Akers. I will draft him at my own risk because I believe that he's going to slide into the spot with Todd Gurley. That Todd Gurley held with the Rams, and I think that they're going to use him extremely effectively. Chris Carson, he was one of those borderline guys that I could have put at your own risk or high risk. I chose to put him at your own risk. He's coming off injury. They've got Carlos Hyde behind him. So, I mean, all the signs just don't look good. The optics are bad, okay? So, remember, when you're going into drafts, talent plus opportunity is going to give you your reward, okay? That's here at the Academy, hey, we're not big on math, but we're going to throw out some nuggets for you to take into the draft with you. And remember that equation, talent plus opportunity is going to equal your reward. So if the guy's got talent and he's got an opportunity like David Johnson, he's going to give you a reward, okay? And also, when we're fixing to fire up this draft for my man Pez, who has requested a 10-man balanced draft from the 4th position. So we're about to get into that. And as we get into it, I want you guys to remember, whether it be mock drafts or whether it be your real draft, always take what the draft gives you. During your mock drafts, you can do very, very different approaches to your draft to see what works better for you. At the end of the draft, take a look at your team, look and see if that's something that you're comfortable with. Maybe go back and look at the board and see who fell where and when these guys went. So that's something to look at. And as always, I want you guys to understand the environment around the player, a la David Johnson, a la Todd Gurley. What's going on around these guys that's going to make them successful, okay? Or what is going on around these guys that you should stay away from. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into our mock draft for one of my newest subscribers. And if you haven't done it yet and you're watching this, down the bottom, subscribe, like, share. Please help us out, get us built up, and you're going to be getting in on the ground level at the Academy. That's the best time to get in. Imagine watching some of these other shows and these guys taking time out to do a personalized mock draft just for you. It's not going to happen, okay? These guys are way too big. They're not going to do a personalized one just for you. I can do that for you, but I'm asking for some love. Down the bottom, subscribe, like, share for me. And we're going to go, as always, Fantasy Pros. You guys going to see, get up here. We got 2020 season, standard scoring, snake draft, basic pick logic. And as I said in the last mock draft that I was doing for Brian Whitney, thank you again for requesting the draft. I appreciate it, Brian. We're not looking at the grade that we get at the end because, again, that can be manipulated. If I were to choose the experts pick every single round, I'd get an A no matter where I drafted from and no matter what my team looked like, but it would not look good to me, okay? So I want you guys to look at the players that I'm taking and when I'm taking them and why I'm taking them. Okay, so I'll let you guys in on that as we do it and as we proceed through the draft. So 10 teams, fourth position, quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex, running back or wide receiver, defense, kicker, and 6 positions, giving us 15 rounds. Again, no time on the clock. And let's go ahead and start. And you guys know what time it is. Whenever we start a mock draft, we always give thanks to our sponsor, Zia of Lafayette. You can find them on Doucette Road in Lafayette, Louisiana, right behind the movie theater in front of Reds. And guys, go down, check them out. Great food, great people, great atmosphere. If you're in town, go down and check them out. Tell them the dean sent you to say hi, okay? So let's go ahead and get this rolling. No big shocker here, okay? The top 3 off the board. Now, you guys see Michael Thomas is up there, and I don't know why he's been climbing so much these past couple of weeks. It used to be Kamara, now it's Thomas. I don't get it, but I'm staying away from that at this point in time. Yes, he's a phenomenal player, but unless you're doing a PPR, I'm not taking Michael Thomas, okay? I'm taking Derrick Henry. As I said, Derrick Henry finished second, and there's no doubt in my mind that he can replicate for this next upcoming season. So one of Pez's things was that he didn't get a good quarterback last year when he was playing. So take a look at the quarterbacks, and Mahomes and Jackson are going to be gone early. You're drafting in the 6th position, in the fourth spot. So the probability that one of these guys is going to be there when you come back around for the 3rd round, it can be up there, okay? If you miss out on them, don't worry about it. We can wait till about the 5th round, and we can snag somebody like Russell Wilson, who I've said in my episode with guest Professor Chet, he is Mr. Reliability when it comes to fantasy football, okay? So let's look at what running backs are available. We're going to go to the cheat sheets, hide the players. So here's the thing. Aaron Jones, we talked about him earlier, Austin Eckler, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Todd Gurley. These are guys in the 3rd. They're being put in the 3rd tier, and I'm not big on any of them, okay? However, if we go to this, we go to the wide receivers, Kenny Golladay, I am huge on, okay? But he's not going to last if you pass him up, okay? And I'm going to try to do something here on the back end in the 3rd round that hopefully Pez will like. So let's go ahead and take Kenny G. And let's see what we have available. So Lamar Jackson was gone. And that's who I was kind of hoping would come back around to us in the 3rd. Okay. So let's take a look at this. We get Derrick Henry. We get Kenny Golladay. Okay. If we pass on Mahomes in this round, he won't be there next round. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take him because we've already got our, if you want balance, if you're looking at this, as I said, the running game runs through Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't run through a running back, okay, in KC. It's the same thing with Baltimore, except it's a little more pronounced with Lamar Jackson. But here's what we're going to do is we're going to take Mahomes here, but I want to show you later on who is available toward the back end of the draft that you could have taken, and we'll see who we're going to miss out on by taking a quarterback, the premier quarterback this early. Okay, so let's go ahead and take Mahomes. I don't think you can do a whole lot better than taking the 2nd overall quarterback. So that'll solve your problem with the quarterback situation there. Okay. Now, you want balance, you want continuity, And you see down here, the top 3 tight ends are gone, okay? After this, after the top 3 are gone, there's no reason to even look at a tight end until probably about the 12th round, okay? So let's go up here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take Fournette. Okay. So we see Fournette gone. Now, I want to look down here real quick at what wide receivers are still available. Now, you see Calvin Ridley sitting there. I see DK Metcalf. We're going to go up here, and we're going to look at our board real quick. So we've got 2 solid running backs, and we were fortunate enough to catch Leonard Fournette in the 4th, okay? Passing on Mahomes, we missed out on Todd Gurley, Kittle, Kelsey, Carson, Allen Robinson, who I do kind of like, Lev Bell, James Conner, A.J. Brown. Look, none of these guys that we missed out on by taking Mahomes, I'm really pressed about not having. I'm not going to take Andrews unless I was able to snag Lamar coming back around, okay? I just like to double up. There was no way that you're going to take Patrick Mahomes. You're going to get Mahomes and Kelsey unless you take Mahomes in the 1st, okay? So with that said, we see that we have 2 running backs, 1 receiver. Now, you want balance. I'm going to give you balance, but I will tell you right now, in this position, I would love to have David Johnson as my 3rd running back, okay? So let's go ahead. Actually, I tell you what, this is a good feature that I like to play with sometimes that's on Fantasy Pros. We're going to take David Johnson. I just want to show you what we can do. So we'll take David Johnson, and we'll see everybody who goes off. And the wide receivers that I would have liked to have had are gone. So what we're going to do, show the draft board real quick. Now, by taking David Johnson, here's what we missed out on wide receiver-wise. We missed out on McLaurin, Lockett, Metcalf, Robert Woods, and Calvin Ridley. Okay, so we also see here in the 6th round how coming back, this is when your quarterbacks are going off the board. They're going to be going off the board in the 5th or 6th round. Okay, this is your next tier quarterbacks. This is the time where you go, okay, hold on, let's get whoever, okay? So in the Patrick Mahomes spot, when we were coming back around and we were taking Galladay, we lost out on Jones and Eckler and Hilaire. We could have picked up Fournette at that spot, and then we could have picked up David Johnson, okay? Or we could have picked up Fournette in the 3rd round, and we could have gotten Juju in. We could have gotten Juju in there. We could have gotten Allen Robinson in there. Or I'm sorry. Let's see. Go that way. Coming back. We could have got A.J. Brown, and we could have got Cooper Kupp in that spot where we had Fournette and just move that up a little bit. And at this point, in the 5th round, instead of David Johnson, you could have reached up and gone ahead and gotten Russell or Prescott or Murray, whoever you wanted to get there. So, Pez, a few things to think about there. If you go ahead and pull the trigger early on Mahomes or Jackson, you're going to miss out on some other things. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit undo, and it takes us back to our fifth round pick. So go down here, and since you're looking for balance, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up Calvin Ridley. Now, like Ridley, he would basically be a number 1 anywhere else if he was playing with somebody else, okay? But because he's playing with Julio, he winds up being the number 2. But this is the guy that all the touchdowns get thrown to. You see down here in the statistics, he had 7 touchdowns last year. So not bad for that. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Of course, we lose out on David Johnson. We knew that was coming. Let's see what else we're going to miss out on if we don't pull the trigger on some of these wide receivers. DJ Shark, a lot of people are big on. I'm not a big believer in Gardner Minshew. I love the whole storyline behind him. But is Shark really – is he the real deal or not? Devontae Parker, Is Fitzpatrick going to be there? And, well, he's going to be starting, but for how long? What's going to be Tua? Tua's coming in. What's going to be a relationship between Devontae Parker and Tua? So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look running back real quick. And DeAndre Swift, as I said, is drafted at your own risk. I'm going to target Cam Akers and see if he comes back around. Okay, so we're going to see if he comes back around. But I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to get you T.Y. Hilton. He's got a huge upgrade. And I know it sounds like trouble right here. Huge. He's huge. Okay, huge upgrade at quarterback coming in with Phillip Rivers. Rivers loves to throw the ball. He does nothing but throw the ball. So that's it. Now, as we see, we missed out on Cam Akers. That's okay. Look down here and see who we got going on. So Kareem Hunt, Sonny Michel, those guys are still up there. Singletary, I'm not big on Singletary because they got Moss sitting behind him. That's another rookie running back. And this is going to be the thing with this season. You're going to have Hunt, and you're going to have, Swift, and you're going to have Moss, and you're going to have Taylor, Vaughn. All of these guys are extremely talented rookie running backs sitting behind, veteran running backs that they're going to have to unseed with no preseason. So for the first few parts of the season, that's not going to happen. Okay, so the week 2, 3, until we get into it and see what's what, you're not going to know who is going to be stepping into that lead role. That said, let's go ahead and look down here at wide receiver. Actually, let's look at our draft board real quick before we go any further. So we need a running back. If we want some kind of balance. So, like I said, if you're in this position and you're wanting a running back out of this 5th tier, okay, I would say it's going to be a shot between Sonny Michel and Kareem Hunt. So I'll go ahead. I'll take Sonny Michel. I know he's coming off a foot injury, so we'll just see how that plays out. You see a lot of running backs going off the board here. Jordan Howard, don't even think about him. I know he's been big for fantasy. At this point in time in the draft, I mean, if you want to take a shot on him, go ahead. If you load it up. Now, we've got 2 teams on here that I'm looking at real quick. Actually, 3 teams if we look at it. Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson. I don't like this lineup because I can't trust 2 of these guys. Over here, Zeke, Aaron Jones, Eckler. I absolutely love that lineup. That is absolutely a phenomenal lineup. If you're going to go with that robust RB strategy where it's a lot of running backs, that's an awesome one to go at. The McCaffrey, Jackson, Edwards-Helaire, and James Conner is laughable. And the Darius Geis pick down here, this guy is going to be hurting for running backs, okay? Darius Geis, we don't know if he's going to stay healthy. And there's like 10, and I'm exaggerating here, but there's like 10 running backs in the Washington backfield. So, what are you going to do? the Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, I can't complain too much about that because that's what I had last year. But this guy went really, really heavy on the wide receivers. I don't like the Odell pick. I think he could have gotten a better pick there if he'd taken A.J. Brown. And then way too early for a tight end. He could have gotten another, David Montgomery or David Johnson. So I think that our team, Pez, is shaping up pretty good here. I like the picks so far. Of course, I'm making them, but I hope you like them too. So let's look down here. What we have left for wide receivers. Now, I said I don't like the Odell pick, but the Jarvis Landry, there's just that continuity that he has where he's been with Baker, and there's a good bit of chemistry there. I don't know what went on with Baker and Odell last year. We're not sure. He's extremely volatile, so I don't know. But let's go up here and let's go ahead and check the draft board, find out where we're at. So we're down here in the 9th round. Now, if you look at our roster here, we've got running back, wide receiver on our bench. Okay, so we're pretty much locked up for our starters, and we started on our bench spots. Okay, this doesn't mean that you have to dive into a kicker. You have to dive into a defense or even a tight end. Okay. Switch over to cheat sheets, and as I said, I would stay away from Damon Williams. I don't like it. It's going to be a mess in that backfield. And there's really nobody that I'm hurt about missing out wide receiver wise. So we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Alexander Mattison here in the 9th. Okay. Now, I said at the top of the show when I was running through the running backs is that this guy, he can possibly be the starting running back for Minnesota. Okay. So we take him, we see how it comes around. And looking at this list, there's nobody, and I mean nobody, that I'm scared about losing right now. Okay. So we took the Madison pick. I'm not worried about Philip Lindsay, Michael Gallup, Julian Edelman, Matt Breida. I mean, come on. Marlon Mack, we don't know when he's getting kicked out by Jonathan Taylor. Damon Williams, I've already said my piece about that. Tevin Coleman is sitting behind Raheem Mostert. We don't know how that's going to play out. Kerryon Johnson is looking to be dethroned by Swift. Latavius Murray is a backup. James White is a backup to Sonny Michel. Chase Edmonds is a backup to Kenyon Drake. Will Fuller, the man is never healthy. So right there, I'm not worried about any of those guys that we missed out on. Now, let's go down here to wide receivers, and we're going to look and see this jewel right here, Deontay Johnson. But if we look a little deeper, okay, we go down here, and I know this pick right here, I like the fact that Emmanuel Sanders is a veteran wide receiver, and whoever you pick here, I don't see a problem with either one. If you pick Emmanuel or you pick DeAndre Johnson, and let's go ahead, just because DeAndre Johnson is ranked higher and we're going against a computer, so they're going to go off of rankings, okay? Let's go ahead and take him. We'll take Deontay Johnson and see if Emmanuel Sanders can fall to us. And I think I'm lagging just a touch here. So you guys have to excuse me for a second. Let's pick him. So Deontay's there, and boom, we got Emmanuel Sanders too. Okay, so let's check out the draft board. You see a plethora, nothing but wide receivers gone in that round. Okay. Now we've got a little stretch here before we get back to us. That was on the short turn that we had. Now, do want to go up here and see. Okay. So there's a player that I'm targeting up here, but he's not going to be there. He's going to be there for a little bit, I believe. And we'll just see what happens. So we take Emmanuel Sanders. And he's still there. So let's go back up here. Now, this is some insurance policy stuff right here. We're going to have two insurance policies for running backs. Okay, we're going to have Alexander Mattison for Dalvin Cook. And then for the next highest running back, A.J. Dillon. Look, this guy, absolute bowling ball in college, and he's just built to run. Okay, so we take him, and let's look at our draft board and see what we got going on here. Okay. Now you see on the left-hand side of the screen, see our bench spots. We've got 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. Okay, that's balance. Okay. Now the guys that we have: Jarvis Landry, Mattison, Sonny Michel, Deontay Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders, A.J. Dillon. With the exception of Mattison and Dillon, these guys are startable every single week. Okay, so basically look at your matchup, look at who's playing who, and who you think is going to have the best day. Okay, because that's what it's all about. It's about the matchup. So there's some of these talents, like you're not going to replace Mahomes or Henry. You're not going to pull out Galladay or Ridley. So when it comes to T.Y., if Deontay has a better matchup, or if they're using Emmanuel Sanders more, or if they're using Jarvis Landry, he has a really good matchup. You can plug him into the flex position. If one of your other running backs go down, if Sonny Michel is just blowing up, you can replace him with Fournette. Okay, totally up to you. So down here, you see that we have 3 more spots available, and we've got 3 more picks to take. Okay, tight end, defense, kicker. Now, after you've done this and you kind of locked up your starting lineup, okay, because if you look up here and you look at the quarterbacks that have gone off the board, okay, so everybody's got a quarterback by the 7th round. Okay. Look at the running backs or the quarterbacks that are still available. Matt Ryan. Okay. I'll take Matt Ryan any day as my fantasy quarterback. Carson Wentz, not too big on. I'm scared about the injury potential there. Matt Stafford, absolutely phenomenal quarterback for fantasy. Daniel Jones, one of my sleepers this year. I think that he's going to be huge. Ben Roethlisberger just throws the ball all over the place. And down at the bottom of the 3rd tier, you're going to see Cam Newton. Guys, what better way than the last pick of your draft, you could get Cam Newton, okay? Come on. So what we need is a tight end, defense, and a kicker. Okay, so this defense is not going to be there if I pass up on them, okay? So we're going to take the Ravens. They just added Calais Campbell from the Titans. Look, I'm telling you right now, this guy is going to be phenomenal in Baltimore. It's going to not just keep them at a dominant spot for defense. It's going to bring them up a notch, if that is even possible, okay? So, kicker, look, if Butker is gone from Kansas City, and you're not really big on any of these other names, go down to the tier 2, number 9, look at Zane Gonzalez. If you're looking for a good kicker, you want somebody who is going to be kicking a lot of field goals or a lot of extra points, okay? So this guy is going to be kicking a lot. And we see them off the board, and we got the short turn for the last part of the draft. You guys know from watching these before, I'm big on Noah Fant. This guy is a physical just freak, okay? He is like the Derrick Henry of tight ends, okay? So I like Noah Fant. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year, okay? So we can go ahead and take him, finish this up, and not too bad of a grade, even though I don't want you to look at the grade, I want you to look at the players here, okay? Pez, leave me a comment down to the bottom after you see this. Anybody else, feel free to as well. Take a look at this team and what you think about how we stacked up. Now, real quick, take a look at our board. I'm just going to scroll down real slow so everybody can take a look when you want to go back and look at this and see who you might have taken at a different spot. But then I want you to take a look at who you would have lost out on. Okay. So that said, that's going to conclude this special edition of Mock Draft Monday with a personalized mock draft just for my boy Pez. Anybody else who liked Pez, he saw the Brian Whitney mock draft and requested this one because he just got into it and was like, hey, I had some problems. I'm new to the fantasy world, and I want to know what I can do different or what I should be looking for. That's what we're all about here at the Academy. We're all about lifting people up, hoping to make you a better fantasy owner. Guys, if you haven't done it already, go down to the bottom, subscribe, like, share for me. I've been the Dean, and this has been Mock Draft Monday on Fantasy Football Academy 2020. Remember to mask up. Y'all take care, and we will see you next time.